Okay, often when I perform magic, people ask me, what is the first magic trick I ever saw? And it was actually shown to be by my dad. Now, my dad, he's not a magician, but this is what he used to do when I didn't want to do my chores around the house, so I saw it every single day. And it uses an envelope and some cards. And as you can see, the cards are a little bit strange, because it's going to be kind of like a game like hide and seek. If I didn't want to do the chores, all I need to do is keep my eye on the queen. For example, in the job, it was in the fall, it was my job to rake the leaves. I didn't want to do it, so my dad brought out the cards. He placed the queen on the table where I could keep an eye on her and said, Jeff, because that's my name. If I could simply tell him where the queen was, I wouldn't have to rake the leaves. But he then turned one card face down and tried to confuse me. I remember the last time I felt like he was raking me in, so I wasn't going to leave it at that. So I said, Dad, I'd like to see the card that's face down in your hand. He says, fine, Jeff, because that's my name. That's a 9 of spades. But my father's a fair man, so he gave me another chance. So I said, Dad, it has to be the one on the table. He said, Jeff, go get that rake because this is the Queen of Hearts. And that is the 9 of spades. Well, I had no idea how he did it, but guess what happened in the winter? It was my job to shovel the snow. I grew up in Massachusetts. It snowed a lot there. I didn't want to do it, so my dad brought out the cards. I was getting suspicious, so I said, I'm getting suspicious. So he then took it one step further. He placed the queen on the table. I could keep an eye on her. But before I could give my answer, he turned a card face down and tried to confuse me. I remember the last time I had to shovel the snow. I felt like a flake. I knew I was getting another snow job. Get the drift? So I said, Dad, I'd like to see the card that's face down in your hand. He said, fine. That's a 9 of spades. I said, Dad, but this time, please do not turn it over. So my father's a fair man. I said, Dad, it has to be the one on the table. He said, Jeff, you better go get that shovel and shovel the 18 inches of snow because this is the Queen of Hearts. And that is the 9 of spades. Well, I had no idea how he did it, and I decided I wasn't going to worry about it. But guess what happened in the spring? The grass was growing long. I saw my dad take out the cards. I didn't know if I could take any more. But as soon as he turned the queen over to place on the table, I said, hold it, Buster! Now, typically, I'd never speak to my father in that tone of voice, but Buster was his name. And he turned over 2 cards, though it was by mistake, but that still isn't very fair. But like I said before, my father's a fair man. So he proceeded to mix the 2 cards and said, Jeff, because that's my name. So if you can simply tell me which one of these 2 cards just happens to be the queen, you will not have to cut the lawn. I said, Dad, it's simple. It's the left one. I said, aha, I got you now, Dad. I didn't mean the one in your hand. I meant the one with that be left. He said, fine. That's a 9 of spades, too. As a matter of fact, I finally figured out after many years of it. You see, my father never even used the Queen of Hearts. He kept in this envelope for safekeeping the whole entire time, and I should have known better because my father never did play with a full deck.